no one, and I've said this before, but I want to say it again because it's fun to say. No one wants to work a dead end job for a shit boss. So you have two variables in that you need to work on. Number one is you need to not be a shit boss. So how do you not be a shit boss? Well, do what you say you're going to do, be on time or early, always follow through, have steady work, have a clean vehicle, be organized. All of these things are easier said than done for sure, but they're definitely doable. So you need to lift yourself up.
Welcome to the Painter Growth Podcast, where we help you scale your painting company in record time. Join us as we explore sales, marketing, hiring, finances, leadership, and more, everything that you need to know to scale and grow your painting business. I hope you enjoy and subscribe.
What's up, everyone? Michael Hickman here, founder of PainterGrowth.com, and you're listening to and watching the Painter Growth Podcast, wherever podcasts are available. I mean, Spotify. Did you know on Spotify, there's actually the video? I know they don't advertise it very much, but if you're watching the podcast on Spotify, or listening to it, you can watch the video and watch me talk at you for the next 15 to 20 minutes or however long this takes. So, solo episode today. And what I'm feeling inspired about to talk about is why you can't find good painters. Now, I hear this a lot. I just want to make sure my microphone is working. It looks like, it looks like it's working. Cool. So why can't you find good painters? Now, the labor market has shifted considerably in the last, I'd say 18 months. About 18 months ago, we're at a place where literally there was no employees. Everyone was working. Unemployment was super, super low. There was, we're at the tail end of this COVID cash. And there's a lot of people who didn't want to work. They were living off of that. And there was just literally no applicants. You would put an ad out and nobody would apply. Fast forward to today, things have shifted. Unemployment is very high. Well, it's getting very high. I can't remember the American numbers, but the Canadian numbers, it's something like 8% unemployment and 12% unemployment for people under 30, pretty, almost record level highs. And what we're finding and what we're seeing is a trend all over the country and all over North America is that when a job becomes available, applicants come out of the woodwork and you're going to get flooded with applicants. But the problem with that is that the people that you're getting that are applying aren't really qualified. They don't have the painting experience. They don't have the 5 years of experience. They don't know how to caulk and sand and scrape and prime and patch and, do all of that stuff. And oftentimes you're getting people who have coming in from hospitality backgrounds or food service or something completely different. And hey, I could try painting, right? So what the average, painting contractor probably listening to this has been looking for, and the reason why they can't find good painters is because they're looking for a unicorn. You're like, oh, I just wish I could have someone as good as me. I'm looking for someone who's trained, who knows how to paint, who's responsible, who smiles, who has reliable transportation, who has their own tools, who knows how to take care of their tools, who has a good relationship with their mother, and who wants to work for me for $22 an hour, right? And who doesn't have a hidden drug problem or alcohol problem or whatever. Now, the problem with this is that because the labor market has changed, you can't find the unicorn anymore that maybe you could have in the early 2000s or even the early 2010s, right? Anyone who does fill all of those gaps, who's qualified, who's a good painter, who is responsible, who has a vehicle, who is good to talk to, and all this stuff, they already have their own painting business. They already have their painting business, or they already have a great job. And I mean, you can definitely pull people from other jobs, from their job, and get them to work for you, but you need to be pretty leveled up and pretty responsible and pretty put together in order to justify convincing someone else to leave, a stable job with a good boss to work for you. And chances are you're not quite there yet. So we need to re-aim, that's not really the word I'm looking for. Reconfigure who we're looking for to reset our expectations until we're at that point where we do have our stuff together a little bit better and we can attract those higher level people. So how do we do this? Well, the first thing is we need to look at, number one, who are we looking for? What are we going to pay them? And what's their role actually going to look like? So if you look at all of the skills, if you just inventory the list of skills that you're looking for from a painter, right? So you want someone who is responsible, who smiles, who's good to talk to, who shows up, who has good transportation, and who's clean cut, who doesn't smell, who doesn't have a drug problem, doesn't have an alcohol problem, and also they know how to paint. So if you take all of that whole list, probably the easiest thing that you can teach someone to do out of that whole list, like you can't teach someone to not have a drug problem. It's very hard. You can't teach someone to like be responsible. I mean, in a short period of time, and this will ruffle the feathers of the old dogs who've been in the business forever. You can teach someone how to paint in a relatively short period of time. And I came from like the student painting world where we would literally train college kids who had zero experience painting and how to be like passable, decent painters within about 2 weeks. Painting is not a hard skill. So what we need to do is we need to now hire for attitude and not painting skill. So we can hire for how they make us feel, how responsible are they, what type of responsibility have they had in the past, how well spoken are they, like do they have a great attitude, are they hungry, do they want to make money? All of those things are way more important than just that painting skill. Secondly, no one, and I've said this before, but I want to say it again because it's fun to say, no one wants to work a dead-end job for a shit boss. So you have two variables in that you need to work on. Number one is you need to not be a shit boss. So how do you not be a shit boss? Well, do what you say you're going to do, be on time or early, always follow through, have steady work, have a clean vehicle, be organized. All of these things are easier said than done for sure, but they're definitely doable. So you need to lift yourself up as a business owner in order to attract higher level talent and keep them around, right? Really good people see through your veil of disorganization very quickly, and they don't want to work for someone who's disorganized, right? Pay people on time, pay people what they're worth, give them bonuses, which leads me to the second point is no one wants to work for a shit boss, but no one also wants to work a dead-end job. So what are they working for, right? You bring someone on, they're going to work $22 an hour forever. You think they're going to do that? Probably not, right? Nobody wants to work that type of role, right? You're like, this whole Gen Z type thing. I'm a millennial, right? But this whole Gen Z thing, and the complaint is that Gen Zs don't want to work hard. And I mean, I have my company right now, we've Painter Growth, we have 32 employees. We have a ton of Gen Zs. And guess what? They work their butts off. Do you want to know why? Because they're mission driven and we have comp plans that respect the outcomes that we want them to get. So if they work harder, yes, number one, they get to see what they're building. But number two, they know that if they do a good job in their role and they exceed expectations, they're going to make more money. And that's what it's all about. So you need to create a compensation structure that's in alignment with what outcome you want for your team. So for a painter, one of the things that we've actually built, as a quick aside, is for all of our clients is different levels of employee, the expectations, and then how to get to that next level. So we have trainee, we have apprentice, we have junior painter, we have staff painter, we have job site manager, and then we have production manager or crew lead, production manager, operations manager, GM. And each one of those has a on-target earnings based on performance and a list of responsibilities that they need to basically meet or exceed. So when someone comes to me and they're like, hey, I want to make more money, it's like, okay, cool. You want to make more money? Here's how you can do it. And you show them the responsibility list. Be like, hey, if you want to go from $25 an hour to $28 an hour, you got to go from staff painter to crew lead. And here are the responsibilities that you need to take in order to get there. And then you can grade them on a little rubric. Here's where you're still weak. Here's where you're really strong. So if you work on these over the next 90 days, I can see a path where you're a job site manager, you're a crew lead. Now, having this type of really clear transparency in their job growth and their career path is fundamental to finding and retaining really great talent, because people need to know what they're working for. They need to know the direction that they're going, how they can make more money, how can they develop in their careers, because you don't want to be the business that people join just for a couple of weeks or a couple of months until they find their real thing, right? How can you make your business their real thing? So I was talking to some of my friends earlier, like you think about someone uh, like Brad Ellison, right? Brad Ellison, his business, he takes care of his painters. He has a ton. He takes care of everyone. Everyone's has good benefits. Or John, oh, what's his name? He's out of Detroit. John, I'll think of it in a minute. He's got this huge business. He's got like 60 painters, right? All W-2s, all in house. And he gives everyone medical benefits and like good compensation packages and takes care of their families. And because of that, like he keeps people for a really long time. And that's what you want to do, is like, how can you set your business up where it's actually someone's career and vocation, and not just someone coming in to work for you for a couple of weeks or a couple of months until they find their real thing, until they get to a real company or whatever. And if you have the aspirations of ever becoming like a 7-figure business owner, like building a company to like a million or multiple millions of dollars, you need to create a business and an infrastructure where people do want to stay for a long time. And it starts with you. It's like what I'm talking about here is becoming a leader. And leadership comes in many forms. Leadership doesn't just happen when you're talking to someone and how you talk to someone, where you say, I'm going to lead you around. No, leadership starts with you being organized, the things that you do in your office. Are you setting up the comp plans? Are you setting up expectations? Are you actually writing SOPs? Are you giving good guidance? Are you setting jobs that customers want, that your team wants to do? Are you creating good working environments? And then back like full circle to the hiring. You hire people without experience, but who have a really good attitude. So the people who come in and they're like, I don't know how to paint, but I'm stoked to learn. And I want to make a ton of money, and I want to work really hard, and I'm here to learn, and I want to build a great company to be a part of. That's the type of person that you want. And you don't need to hire someone who's like 30, 35, 40. You can hire someone who's 18, 20, 22. And as you develop them, as you pour your skill into them, you're going to create loyalty because you're providing them something. It's like, okay, you know what? For the next 3 weeks, as I train you, you're going to be at $20 an hour. And then once you can set up and take down a job on your own, then you're going to be up to 22 an hour. And once you can completely start a job from scratch, finish it, and collect the check and a 5-star review, now we're going to get you to 25. Plus, we're going to add these quality bonuses, performance bonuses, speed bonus, maybe piece rate, so that you can make the amount of money that you want to make. Right. And so as long as you can like show them that path, show them that they're building something, they're not just painting a house just to paint a house, it's going to be way better, like such a way better culture. And, you're on job site, but you also want to build some culture off of job site too. There are two kind of three main things that I did in my painting business to drive culture. The biggest one and most regular one that I did is every second Friday morning at 7 a.m. we'd meet for breakfast. So we'd have it'd be like 18, 20 of us. We'd all meet. We'd gather together at this breakfast joint. They did great. It was like $10 for breakfast and coffee. So it was great. So I'd get everyone and we'd get out of there for like $200 or something. And people loved it. We just like hung out for like an hour, hour and a half. We chatted. Became friends, and they looked forward to that every single Friday. That was number one, is every second week we did breakfast, and it became a culture event that people really looked forward to. Then the second thing that I did was a weekly newsletter. So I emailed out a newsletter every single week. I think I did it on Sundays. And in this newsletter, we do updates, we share contact information, we talk about big projects. And what I would do is every second week, every second time I did the newsletter, I would post, or maybe it was every 2 weeks I did the newsletter, because I lined it with pay periods. I would share how many production hours everyone did. I wouldn't share how much everyone made, but I would share how many hours each painter produced and have them as in kind of like a leaderboard. So it's like, oh, Derek got first because he produced 128 hours over the last 2 weeks. And then Nigel got second because he produced 110 hours. And then Trevor got third because he produced 98 hours. And then we'd go down and people would just see where they are and they'd want to produce more. So that's one thing that we did, and that worked really well. People look forward to that, and it was a good way to kind of keep a good pulse on everyone. I'm going to do a third, and then I'm going to share a bonus fourth here. So the third is thing that I did is about once a month or once every 6 weeks or so, we'd all go out and play pool. So it's something that we enjoy doing. We actually paired that along with our door-to-door team blasts. Our door-to-door team would go out and they would come join us, and we'd all play pool for a couple of hours and drink some beers and eat some wings and things like that. And that was something that they always look forward to. And then the last thing that I did that everyone here should be doing, regardless if you have one painter or 100 painters, well, maybe not 100, your team will do this, but you should be doing a weekly one-on-one, formalized one-on-one meeting with each painter. And what that needs to look like is just like a 15 to 20 minute meeting. It can be in person or on the phone, but a formalized scheduled meeting every single week where you just sit down with them and go through a few simple questions. How did the last week go? What does this week look like? How are you feeling? Are you happy here? Are you making enough money? You just ask these, is there anything I can help you with? You just ask these simple questions. And if they, and then that just gives you a great check-in, great point of feedback to show them that you care, to show them that they matter to you, that you're getting that feedback, that you're just not leaving them for weeks or months on end without hearing anything from them. But there is that constant feedback cycle. So you should be doing that with every single painter once a week. It only takes 15 or 20 minutes per painter. But once you get a production manager, your production manager can do it with your painters. Maybe you want to still do it with your crew lead or something like that. And then you do that weekly with your production manager as well. But of course, as you start managing leadership, those meetings are become a little bit more in depth where you're actually doing check-ins. How are these jobs, progress, cash collections, reviews, things like that, monitoring their metrics. A little bit easier with painters, becomes a little more challenging as you run management structure in between you and your painters, because now they are responsible for people and you're still ultimately responsible for everyone. Okay. So to recap kind of everything that we said today is number one, hire for attitude and not painter skill, right? So let's forget about, are they qualified, experienced painters, but let's just now look for people who make you feel good, who want to work hard, who want to show up, and who check all of the other boxes. Number two, create a clear roadmap for their careers and how much money they want to make. Ask them how much money they want to make and help them create a path where they can actually make that much money. Number three, train them and pour into them. Make sure they're qualified to do the job. Give them the skills that they need. Spend time with them on site. Learn how to become a good trainer and pour your skill into them so that they can be productive for you. Number four, create culture on and off the field, right? On site and off site. Do your weekly check-ins, meet with them every couple of weeks for breakfast, empower them, let them be responsible, let them make mistakes, and they're going to pay dividends for you. And then finally, make sure you're doing your one-on-ones with them at least every week for 15, 20 minutes. Check in with them, make sure that they're achieving their goals, because if you help enough people achieve their goals, back up. You can get whatever you want in this world as long as you help enough other people get what they want. That's from Mr. Zig Ziglar. May he rest in peace. So with that being said, I think you have some work to do. So take a really good hard look at you, your team, your staff, your culture, your hiring process, your compensation plan, your recruitment structures. See what needs to change. And if you need any help, let me know. More than happy to support you. I'll actually put my recruiting playbook below if you want to download it, or not playbook, rather, mini course, free. So just click in the description. And with that being said, hope you'll have a wonderful day. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening to the Painter Growth Podcast. If you want to grow your painting business, go to www.paintergrowth.com or click on the top link in the description. Talk soon.